Today is another Brooklyn Public Library trustees meeting. But it's not just another Brooklyn Public Library trustees meeting day. Today is the day that we are announcing our Citizens Audit and Investigation of the Brooklyn Public Library. The Brooklyn Public Library has been asked to tell us, to tell the public, the truth about its plans to sell and shrink libraries. Many of us have asked. Tish James, the public advocate, asked at the last city council meeting when the public was awarding funds to the library. We're giving funds to you. Please tell us what your plans are. What libraries are for sale? The Brooklyn Public Library has never been forthcoming about its plans. We have been on the alert, and we have commenced our due diligence. We have found extraordinary things just in the minutes kept by the Brooklyn Public Library that have not been read, that have not been public, but we have now read them and we have made them public. What kind of things? That it was the intent of the Brooklyn Public Library to keep secret its real estate sale plans, what libraries were affected, to keep it secret from the public, to keep it secret from the people funding the libraries. Even the city's Office of Management and Budget, in charge of coordinating the city's budget, was being told that it couldn't know what libraries were affected because that was dangerous information for the public to have, dangerous information to get out, because if the public knew that we were going to be selling and shrinking its libraries, the public would be outraged, the public would be protesting. Well, that's what we're doing. Ultimately, Office of Management and Budget, an agency reporting directly to Bloomberg, was told that they could have the information that about which libraries were affected, so they could figure out whether they were giving money to libraries that was going to disappear. But they were told that they could have the information only on strict confidence that they would not give that information to anybody else. Well, who is anybody else? All of the other people funding libraries. Us, the public, who can get out and do what we are doing here and say that we care about our libraries, we want to see them funded. What else were they doing? As they were keeping the plans secret, they were deciding that they would take the plans as far as they could to get them as deeply entrenched as they could so that they would lock in the next administration. Because the person who came after Bloomberg, we didn't know who it was going to be. We didn't know at that time for sure that it was going to be de Blasio. Some people thought it was going to be Quinn, because the person who came after Bloomberg very likely might be listening to the public. So they wanted to make it so that the next administration was locked in and couldn't stop the sales. These are the things that were in the minutes. Under the Giuliani administration, we were expanding libraries. Well, two of our library systems, the BPL and the NYPL, did 180-degree turns. They did an about face. They went from growing libraries to shrinking libraries. When did that begin with the NYPL? That began shortly after the arrival of a chief operating officer by the name of David Offensend. Well, by coincidence, it seems that these sale and shrinkage plans were operating in parallel at the BPL. When did it begin at the BPL? Oddly enough, not long after the arrival as a key trustee of Janet Offensend. Janet Offensend being the wife of David Offensend. So at the same time that we were doing the Donnell debacle, the sale of a incredibly beloved and valuable library for a pittance. At the same time that that was happening, suddenly and secretly, with no apparent bid, the BPL, with Janet Offensen on the board, was working on setting up library sale and shrinkage plans here. It's outrageous. So we have commenced a citizens audit and investigation. We used the freedom of one of the Sunshine Laws, the open meetings law, to access the minutes of the Brooklyn Public Library and find out much more than they wanted us to know. We are now going to use another Sunshine Law, the Freedom of Information Law, to do our citizens audit and investigation. Yes, these are things that should be investigated by our public officials. Yes, this should be investigated by the mayor. Yes, it should be investigated by Scott Stringer, the comptroller. As far as we understand, Scott Stringer is doing an audit right now, a performance and a financial audit, and we would be very surprised if that audit, when it comes out, doesn't cover all of the things that we've already brought into light. The same things that we are requesting by our Freedom of Information Law request should be requested by the comptroller. Comptroller has power to request even more than we are requesting. The State Attorney General should be requesting this. The State Education Department should be requesting this. The state legislature, which had very effective hearings with us and under Micah Kellner, should be looking forward to more hearings. So we have posted online our Freedom of Information Law request. Everyone will see the information we are requesting. I think we are asking some very serious questions, and I think those questions and their answers will be very embarrassing for the Brooklyn Public Library. All of the questions we are asking are the questions that everyone else should be asking. Any public official can take our Freedom of Information request, cut and paste it into their own email, and make it their own. Any journalist can do the same. Now, when Tish James was told that there were no other Brooklyn libraries being sold except for the Brooklyn Heights Library, what other libraries were there in the minutes that were specifically being talked about being sold? There's the Brooklyn Heights Library, and I'm going to ask for some volunteers. In addition to the Brooklyn Heights Library, let's come up and in a big voice, what?
Pacific Branch.
Sunset Park Branch.
Red Hook Branch.
Williamsburg Branch.
Brower Park Library.
Midwood Library.
Gravesend Library.
Clinton Hill.
McKinley Park Branch.
With our citizens audit and investigation, we will bring an end to the secrecy. We will unlock any public officials who think that they have to be locked into these secret plans. Who drew up these secret plans? Well, the main strategic plan was drawn up by a former vice president of Forest City, Ratner, apparently hired at City Hall's request without a competitive bid. We're asking more information about that. But why is that significant? Well, out of the list of libraries, the two that were first prioritized for sale were both across the street from, or right next to, Forest City Ratner property. We are asking questions about all of these so-called coincidences. How is it that you hire a consultant to do a community needs assessment, and more than a year after you need that community assessment, they finally come back and they tell you pretty much what you figured you had hired them to tell you, that the library should be adopting a new missions, and that one of its new missions should be that the library should start acting as an economic development agency. This is absurd. It is absurd, but how do you get people to tell you things that are absurd? Well, one thing you do is you pay them a lot. So the company that came up with a strategic plan that was run by the former Forest City Ratner executive, their first initial payment was just shy of $1 million. Well, our FOIL request covers about 9 different consultants that are involved with the real estate plans, and we are asking, how much did you pay all of these consultants? Because I don't know if you've tuned into this, but if you are in government or a public official who has responsibilities, and you have decided that you are going to do something really, really stupid, your first move before doing that thing that is really, really stupid is to spend enough money on a consultant to have them tell you that the thing that you are doing that is really stupid is really a bright idea. So this is the end of the BPL operating in secrecy. This is the end of the BPL operating without scrutiny. They have a board meeting today. Some of us are going to go in. I am about to go in a minute. I thank you all for coming to this press conference. I thank you all for being here. I thank you all for your continued support. And we are the ones that are doing it. And that's why we are calling it the Citizens Audit and Investigation. We are fine if our public officials also do their jobs, but we are going to be out there doing the diligence ourselves. And if anyone's not doing it, well, they're just going to have to catch up with us. Thank you all.